Well, morning everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the channel, Motorhome Adventures. As promised in our last film, when we were at Newbury Valley down in Devon, I mentioned that we were thinking of upgrading and upsizing the top box on Peggy the scooter. So we progressed that and spoke again to Bike Luggage, who are a fantastic online company based in Chester, exclusively online, but they're the UK's biggest distributor of Shad bike luggage. Shad actually are a Spanish company, and they ship to 80 odd countries all over the world. They're a very well known bike luggage company for all types of bike. Our bike is a Lexmoto Pegasus 300cc scooter, and we do have at the moment an SH29, which is Shad's model of 29 litre top box, which carries a single helmet and probably at a squash one or two other small bits, but generally just one helmet. So we always travel together on the bike. We tow it on the back of a motorhome, and therefore we're looking for a bit of extra space, be it for shopping, for swimming stuff, be it for two helmets, certainly for two helmets, and we wanted to use our existing rear carrier that's already on the Lexmoto scooter. So a shout out first and foremost to Alex at bikeluggage.co.uk, who was absolutely brilliant on the phone, answered all my questions about the upsizing and the requirements for different base plates and that sort of thing. So what we've chosen in the end is the SH58X. The first requirement was for two helmets. The 58 does that, but the X of the 58X stands for expandable or extendable, and I'll show you what that means when we've unboxed the product and got it onto Peggy. But it effectively means you can have three different settings or cubic literage in the box itself by some crafty little catches on the inside of the box that allow you to expand and contract the box's content space. Clever little design. So without further ado, let's get out, have a look at the existing SH29 and then onto the 58X. So here's Peggy with her existing SH29, you see there, which a number of regulars to the channel will have seen, and then inside you can see that it's just got enough room for, as I said, the single helmet, one or two other bits, gloves or whatever around the side, but not a lot else. So that was the plan, to try and get a bit of expansion. So on the 29, with a press on the lower part of the catch, that just allows it to lift off its base plate. So we'll drop that down here next to the box with the new goodies in. And you can see there that the existing framework here takes the base plate there, and in fact these just pop off this cover. Pops off very easily, and you can see there are two securing screws that are just holding on the base plate that fixes the 29 to the bike. So let's get the new one unboxed and see what it's got to offer, and show you some of the features it's got, and get it fitted with its new mounting plate onto the Pegasus scooter. So box one, I think that's the backrest. Now we opted for the backrest. There is an option for both the backrest as an extra and also for a lining bag, an inner liner which goes inside the box itself and acts as a sort of flexible canvas type suitcase, I guess, that you can just take the contents out. We didn't need the inner liner. There are details just below the film in the description below, which has got links to the product, the SH58X itself, and on there you can see on the bikeluggage.co.uk website, it's got reference to adding the backrest and or adding the inner liner, and that then recalculates the price for you depending on what your choices are there. So you can see that on the 29, on the 29 there we had this backrest fitted, and that's been useful for the pillion, for Nicky on the pillion. So we wanted something similar on the 58. So those are a two-piece backrest, so slightly bigger and therefore gives a little bit more of extra padding, which is also quite a useful feature, which we liked, so hence we opted for that. So there we go. So there is the instructions for the backrest itself, which will take a little bit of fitting just by drilling through the case, which will do that as well. Box of bits there to assist that fixing process. So we'll put that to one side and get that sorted once we've got the box out. Right, let's get the main box out. So there we go. We went for the carbon finish. There are other finishes available as well, and again the website will show you those different options, but you can see straight away if I put the two together now. There we go. So you can see that difference, and of course this one has got its ability to extend it, and the way it does that, it sort of lifts up the back of the box, so this will become even deeper when it's in its most extended position. But a really nice product. It's the back, it's its logo on the side. That's obviously where you've got where it links into its base plate with these lugs at the back, very similar to the 29 that we've just showed you, where it clips into place using those fixtures there. And then you've got the locking release here, and this is a sort of upgrade version, if you like, of the one that we had on the 29, a lot more substantial. And to release the handle, you just press this button down at the bottom here, and that releases the handle there. And then underneath, just under there is a little pressy button that you can then squeeze, and you see the top, the lid just pops up once you've got that. So you can see you've got inner luggage straps, you've got your pack of fixings, you've got the base plate which is included. We'll do a comparison of the old and the new base plates as well. Some keys for the box itself, and there you can get your first glimpse as well of this process which I talked about, the expandable process. So what we'll do is we'll try and get it fixed the bike first, and then I can show you the different positions it in at these fixtures enable the box to get into, and of course we'll show you the how it takes the two helmet fix and or any other luggage that one might want to put in there. And there you can see the variation in the two base plates as well. As you'd expect, it takes a lot more weight, therefore a lot more substantial product. Fits a multitude of racks. You can see it's got gazillions of fixing points and options, so it's whatever the rack you've got, existing rack if you've got one, then it's highly likely that the Shad base will be able to be fitted to it. But as I say, Alex at Bike Luggage, and indeed the team at bikeluggage.co.uk will certainly give you any advice you need. There is an ability on the website to put in your make and type of motorcycle, and it then points you towards the appropriate fixing kits for your bike and or rack. But again, as I say, if there's any doubt remaining, then just a phone call to Alex, as I did. Met with a very helpful team who explained all and made sure I had the right order sorted. So, and there's the box of bits unpackaged. Looks like you've got a choice of different lengths, slightly different lengths of bolts, and a choice of different brackets depending on how your framework, or what your framework requires. So let's have a dig through the instructions and work out what's the best one for our setup. So the plate, so the box can fit, has 4 little screws which allow you to then see the sort of fixing points that are underneath. So I've just backed off these 4 screws, stick them aside, and then we'll just try and lift up. There we go. There we go. So that's just lifted off, and that just then, as you can see now, starts to reveal all those fixing points that our bolts are probably useful for. Now, as you can see, my base plate, or my carrier I should say, the bike carrier itself, already has some pre-drilled options. It's pretty thin underneath there, so I've also read and seen that some people have actually drilled their own position holes. So if we offer up the base plate now, we've taken the cover off, and just see what it lines up with, and you can see already that, yeah, so I'm lining up pretty well there with these 2 existing big sections here, so that's lining up pretty well, but then there's no obvious immediate line up on the other one. So what I might do is just pop a little metal drill bit through the bike carrier, so that we can add all 4 of the fixings that are supplied, because obviously with that extra weight, even though we had only 2 fixings on the 29, you can see the difference in weight that you potentially carry. Certainly needs those 4 to be on the safe side. So what I've done is I've offered up that base plate and seen where the best holes are. As I said, I've popped in a little 2.5mm pilot into 2 of the other appropriate spots on both sides, and we'll put the bigger drill bit on that in a sec to take it up to the size of bolt that they provided. Yep, pretty sure that measures up as an M6, so you've got the 4 M6 longer, 4 M6 shorter. So as they're supplying a fair few, then I didn't see a problem with using 6 fixings. Again, belt and braces I know, but it will make sure that everything remains nice and secure on the back, particularly if Nikki, as the pillion is leaning against the top box as well. Want it to be nice and secure and not lose Nikki off the back. Right, there we go. So that's just followed it up with a 6mm to match the bolt sizes. So we've got all the holes set up for the base now. So if we just offer up the base, there we go. So you can just now start to see the holes that I've drilled here and at the back here as well. So plenty of fixings, so we don't lose Nikki off the back, and now let's get to securing it. So the spacers that they also provide are, I think I'll probably use a couple of those, because I might even use all of them. The spacers obviously fit into the little squares here, and that sort of suits the way that it sits underneath here. So I'll show you a bit more detail underneath in a sec. So I'm going to use a couple of their spacers. I'm going to use a couple of these as well, just to spread that load a bit underneath, use it as a bracket underneath. So once I've got my favoured combination of bolt lengths and fixings, I'll show you how I did it. So in true belt and braces style, I've used a bit of everything. We've gone in 4 fixings each side, so Nikki is definitely going nowhere, and neither is our luggage, hopefully. So those are the top fixings, and let's just show you underneath. There's a combination of fixings under there. I've used a couple of their steel bits to spread the load. That was where there was a raised section of the existing framework here, which that fitted over perfectly. So again, that's just helped to spread the load. And sorry about the lights just fading in and out there. And then got the other 2 bolts forward of those. Definitely not going anywhere. So, and to enable all that, what obviously would be useful would be something pretty small that you could use as a pilot, say a 2.5, like I used, mil, just get through the your steel, aluminium, whatever your framework's made of, and then obviously the 6mm to create the holes for all the fixings. Right, let's get this top plate back on, and we're almost there for the first bit. The other thing that would be useful if you've got it, I always put a dab of that on. I mean, we're using Nylock, so they in themselves lock on pretty well, but you could always put in a little bit of extra dab of the nut lock stuff to get it solid. When it comes to putting this plate back on, you can see there's two little lugs there just on each side, and they've got to locate into the little tiny little receivers there. So you have to start with it tilted up like that, and then just work it into those lugs first before then folding down. There we go. I located at the front first, and then it fits over these, and these are like rubber feet which obviously help protect the underside of the box. So we've got our four little screws to go back on. Goes without saying, obviously, if you're going to use an impact driver, and there's a lot of steel there with the bolts and the brackets underneath, but ultimately the base plate is plastic, so don't go crazy. Steel versus plastic. Steel is going to win, and your base plate would not like that. So yeah, just go steady if you're impacting. So in terms of fitting, probably right to just mention the different key positions now. The old one was a sort of bit of a push in the lower part of the catch. This one is obviously a bit more sophisticated, bit more feels a bit more substantial, but you can see there you've got a lock position, you've got an open position, that's for the top box itself, for the lid, but then you've got this third setting which is release, and when you turn the key to release, you can't remove the key again, but what it does is it allows this piece to open up. And this piece is obviously the key bit, which allows then to lock into the underside of that. The lugs, remember, on the front of the box there, on the base there, they have to again slide in and under there first. So again, you come in at a sort of angle and then you lower down. And as you lower down with the key set to release and hold this back slightly, it then just starts to locate itself in the catch there. So let's get that box on. See if I can manage to do it one-handed. Push it down like that. You can see that's now located fully into place under there. This catch has sprung back into its return position. One last tap, and then if you turn the key back to the open position and remove it, you can see we are now well and truly locked on. Fantastic. That then clicks back into position. So that's its travelling position. Looking, of course, a little bit broader in the beam than the last one. And then again, as we said, to open it, once you've got the lock and the open unlock position, it's just a case of pressing that in, out pops the handle, and then you remember just under there there's the catch where you just squeeze that together under there, that pops the lid, and there you have it. So these stays look pretty substantial, they're okay just to hold the lid up in place. And then, so let's just, now we've got it on a fixed base, let's just show you how these work. So to get the extended shape, you just release that one and release that one, and you can see straight away there that that's actually, it was actually fixed in its mid position. So there we are, all the way up to the top. That clicks back into place. We've got one. There we've got two, and you can see, as I said, that square piece, when it's in its highest position, locates above the orange lock handle. And now you can see you've gained all of that height, which is what, about 100 mil, I suppose. Let's shut the lid down. You can just see the look from the outside. There we go. So you've extended the back position there. and you've now got that extra space. So again, the catch here, that's just you sort of bend it forward, so again it releases it out of its there, so it's in at an angle, and then tilt down to secure it. So let's pop that one back, and let's grab a helmet from the handlebar. Yeah, so you can see straight away there that we've got absolutely plenty of room to get, let's pop that out of the way, plenty of room to get second helmet there. And then of course, as you see, as the lid comes down, you've still got space over the top here, over the top of the helmets, which might be for jackets or whatever else it may be. So that's in its highest position. Absolutely fantastic, really liked that concept. When I chatted it through with Alex at bikeluggage.co.uk, then he was able to sort of verbally take me through the website, show me how the thing worked, which persuaded me that it was a very useful addition to Peggy the Scoot, and it's certainly proving to be already. So next bit is to get the backrest on. So we'll pop that on and we should be tickety-boo ready to go. Love the new box, and Peggy is very excited, although you can't see her smile at the moment because she's looking a bit grubby after our trip down to North Devon, but she's definitely smiling, I'm sure. An early Christmas present. Right, so the backrest, again we've got to do a bit of jiggery pokery. Again, a 6mm drill bit for plastic would be is an essential piece of kit. Where it will end up, to give you a flavour of how it will fix, is that this piece actually goes into onto the top of the top box here, providing this padded section here, and then this piece here, which is the secondary piece, that will fit on there. So obviously you can see that with the movement up and down of the box, then the backrest itself is fitted to the bit that's moving. So yes, your backrest will alter slightly in height, but it won't obviously get confused, or the fixings won't get confused by the transition from the moving part to the non-moving part. But of course what that'll involve is we've got to do a little bit of modification work. So the first thing that we have to do is to take off this, we've got to take off this piece here, and that's secured by 6 screws, which are 2 there, and then just tucked away there, there's one, and there you've got the other one. So we've got to take those 6 screws off, release that bit of plastic. So let's get that done. Of course, just to keep us guessing, that is a T20, so it's a T20 type fixing that you'll need as well, just to get those out. So that's backed off all those screws, and then should just be able to get under them there to allow you to pop off the that's the piece that you've got to remove from the top of the box there. So the fixings that they provided, looks like you've got some sort of hard rubbery or plastic washers, some little threaded pieces there, and the 6 little M6s, and then we've got a drill into the top piece that we've just taken off, and you can see they've left you with 4 little pilot holes, so 6mm bit again. So let's pop those holes through and get ready to fix on the top plate there. There we go, it's got the 6mm holes in. These little pieces that they provide, they've got to go in that way up, so that the screw thread, just by my thumb there, the screw thread is underneath that, so it should sort of finish like that. So that angle bit should be facing down as you fit them in. There we go, so that's the little washer bits, and then those tiny little M6s that go into our fixings. So if we flip that over now, you can see that's got it fitted on to the bit of the bike that obviously will be going back on there, or the bit of the top box I should say. So we've popped our 6 screws back in on the underside, which was those T20s, you remember, that we took out from underneath. So that's got that all fixed back on, and now we've got to get this next piece fitted onto here. Similar process by the looks of it. And there's obviously a key bit here. You've got to make sure that the box is in its highest position expansion wise, because obviously once you have, then you can see that you've got the 2 little marker holes now come into view. If it was in its lowest point, you wouldn't see these at all, and wouldn't get that guide that they've given you for the 6mm holes that we've got to pop in there. So it's in its maximum position. Off we go. Another 2 6mm holes. Again, we've got these little pieces. You don't need to prise them apart or anything with a screwdriver. They do just push on quite stiff, but that's good because obviously it holds them in position. And then we've got the 2 remaining washers, 2 remaining little stubby M6s. So let's get that fitted. Again, the positioning wise, it looks, it's pretty identical. You can see you've got a slight curve on the lower edge, convex, and a slight sort of concaveness to that. Well, it needs to be that way up because that ensures that when it's up under there, that the backrest here has got somewhere when the box is fully open. So make sure you're just positioning it the correct way up. Convex at the bottom, concave at the top, and let's pop that on. Again with those last remaining little washers. Don't go crazy again. Steel, isn't it? But plastic surround, so don't want to over tighten. And there we go. That's got the finished effect. You can see it's raised. It's just raised very slightly on the edges all the way around because it's got that. I mean, this is basically spongy, so you've got that movement there, but you've got those 2 fixings which were about there on the inside. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. So in true IKEA style, I've got a few bits left that we didn't need, but that's good. I used a couple of bolts from the old fixing as well, because I obviously put in a couple of extra ones. There we go with the 2 helmets. Absolutely loads of room, isn't there? Fantastic space. So let's what I'll do is I'll just drop it down into the lowest position then, just to show you how that fits, remembering that we'll be concertinaing this bit down into the back of the box, and managing to do it one-handed with one on the camera. So I've released those catches, and let's just lower it all the way down. You can see it going down there, and there we go. So that's in its locked position there, with the 2 helmets in its lowest position. So now you can see it at the back there. Backrest is obviously now lower, of course, by about that 100mm. And let's just pop it open again, catch underneath. There we go. So if we now just lifted that back up to there we go. I had to put the camera down for a sec to get those catches done up. Amazing what you can do one-handedly, and there we go, into its max height position. Love it. What a great bit of kit, isn't it, eh? And such an easy off-on. So let's lock that down. Little push there, click that. In fact, what we'll do is we'll just see if it pops off with those. So we'll go into release position, and then we can pull that out, lift up this front, and there we go. It's almost one-handed, 2 helmets on board, and you've got a great little suitcase to carry on with. Top job. And finally, There we go, the key into the upright position, pop the key out, and there we go, all locked on. That is a clever bit of kit in terms of its expandability, and a much better option for us. Really nice carbon finish, jobs are good. And of course the other big difference is price. The SH29, the little one down there, which has been great for 2 or 3 years that we've had it, that's only about 60 quid from Bike Luggage. This one, which is the 58X, this one is at 234 with July 2025. This is at 234 on the website. If you then went for the backrest option, that's about another 60 odd quid. And if you wanted the inner bag as well that fits the shape of the box, then that would be around about another 48 quid, I think it is. What a great product that was, wasn't it? Really like that top box. Just a couple of things to add. Bike Luggage also do next day delivery. It's DPD, so if you're spending over 50 quid, it's free delivery as well, which is always a good thing. There are some instructions actually. They provide a sort of single sheet of instructions for the backrest. There are fitting instructions online as well on the bikeluggage.co.uk website, with all the resources that you need. So as I say, pretty straightforward, wasn't it? Hour and a half fitting with all the drilling and messing about with the backrest and stuff. If you were just doing the base plate, then you'd be done in less than an hour probably. Absolutely excellent bit of kit. Really enjoyed popping that on. Peggy is absolutely delighted with her early birthday stroke Christmas present, and it's been great having you along. So if you wanted insight, of course, into Peggy's adventures with us on the back of our motorhome, she gets dragged around Europe, then do subscribe to the channel. There's a load of films of us in and around Europe, various countries in Europe, with towing Peggy the Scoot, and of course in the UK, as you may have seen already on the channel. So it'd be great to have you along as subscribers. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you of course to Alex and the team at bikeluggage.co.uk for all their help and advice in getting my project to fruition, which was of course very much appreciated. So take care guys, safe travels, enjoy your scooting or your motorbiking if that's your bag, and it's been good having you along. Bye now.